Disorderly product news. Disorderly product
news. And I spent 29 years, 4 months, and 7 days falsely in prison. And my story is coming to you on this channel.
Hi guys, Disorderly Product News here. Everybody has a favorite auditor. I might be your favorite auditor's favorite auditor. But even I have a favorite auditor. And that man is on the line right now. He goes by the name of Legalized Drugs. Legalized Drugs, what's going on, buddy?
What's up, DPN?
Legalized Drugs came on the scene, I would say, how long have you been putting out videos?
Shit, not even a year. Maybe since August or September of last year.
Yeah, definitely not even a year, because was that your first video? So the first thing I ever heard Legalized Drugs say, because I always get auditing videos, and I tapped on this one, I clicked on this one, and the first thing I heard him say was, before we talk about matters of curiosity, let's talk about matters of legality. And it was an officer that was coming and asked him a question, and he said that. And when he said that, my ears perked up. I'm like, oh, this is a whole different ballgame. Because to be a good auditor, you have to know how to communicate. That's almost 90% of the battle. And was that your first video?
That was not my first video. There was one video before that. It was at a prison. It was at a diversion center. That was my first video, but it didn't get very many views. It went without incident. Okay. But the video you're talking about, that was my first kind of interaction, full interaction with an officer.
And you're out of what state? What part of the United States?
Virginia. Yeah,
and
Virginia.
then how did you get into?
Right outside of Washington, D.C. And I'd also like to mention, I'm not an auditor. I don't consider myself that at all. You know what I mean? I think auditing is very specific. Me, I'm a very general. I don't like to box myself into any kind of label or bubble. I like to free flow. You know what I mean? I'm a Pisces. So I'm more of a, for lack of a better phrase, and for entertainment purposes, I tell people I'm an asshole with the camera, because that's what the haters say in the comments, you know, and I agree with them. I am, but I'm not just an asshole with the camera, you know.
Yeah.
But I'm not an auditor.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Like an auditor goes in there, walks in, and then this is the soda box, the soda selection. You could get Pepsi. They're just trying to make up random stuff until the police officer or the agent engages them. Like, I've never done that a day in my life.
Yeah, exactly. You have to create that environment. You have to create that interaction or altercation, you know, if you will. You have to create that for yourself, you know, and that's all part of taking control and establishing dominance, you know, because police, when they respond to a call, you know, they know what they're coming into. They know that when they come in, whoever they're coming in on is going to be on the defensive, you know, because the things that they've been told in the call, you know, they know they've gone to enough calls to know when they're being provoked and when they're not. See, me, I like to provoke the interaction. We're on my time. These are my terms. You know what I mean? That we're going to do this my way, not theirs, you know? So I know what you mean. They go in there, they wait around for a long time, and exactly, they wait for someone to encounter them. Why wait?
Yeah, people may call you an agitator. That's not the way I see it. Obviously, I have a different perspective. I enjoy your content because I know you know the law. How did you get started? And you do have a unique quality. How would you explain your quality?
I actually had no idea that there was even an auditing movement. I didn't know that it was a thing to go out and actively film the police. I did not know that. Now, coincidentally, I've reached a point in my life where I wanted to begin some sort of activism, and I did want it to be video related. So, you know, I started to look into things. How can I film the police? How can I swear I had no idea that even filming the police, I didn't know what cop watching was until July or September. All of this stuff is recent information. You know what I mean? It's recently discovered. So I got into it basically because me being activist is second nature, but auditing specifically, it was kind of the first thing that fell into my life. I've always wanted to get involved in activism, you know, for my whole life, because I've been adversely affected by criminal justice system my whole life. But to get into auditing, it wasn't really a conscious choice or deliberate choice. It was just something that kind of came to me.
Yeah, and they accepted you because you guys kind of had the auditing world accepted.
They accepted us.
Because,
You know why I think people accepted us? Because we weren't afraid to be ourselves. We're not trying to. We're not followers. We're not trying to be like anybody else. We don't want to be like any other channel. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
We pride ourselves on being different.
And when you say we, who's the we?
Me and my brother. The other guy
So
is my younger brother. That is my brother, my blood brother, my younger brother. Yeah, yeah, and he's just as sharp.
Exactly like.
Yeah, I know. People think we're twins, but we're not.
What happened over here in your younger days? Can you talk about that, or can you not talk about that?
I can. It's a lot to tell. You know what I mean? I could almost write a book. You know what I mean? I've told my story many times to many people. It's exhausting. It takes a lot of energy. I mean, I can recap here for you. You know, the first time I ever got locked up, I was 12 years old. I was in and out of juvenile and jail. When I turned about 17, I sold drugs through my teenage years. When I hit about 17 or 18, I started selling the harder drugs. Things escalated. By the time I was 21 years old, you know, me and my whole crew, we all got indicted on state and federal crime for state and federal drug distribution, firearms offenses. I got 30 years, 24 years suspended, so I served 6 years. My brother, and he has his own story to tell. He also got some time, right? So I did that. There's a story behind that too. I actually have a case in the Virginia Court of Appeals. My convictions were reversed and remanded because of an unlawful detention that was not supported by reasonable suspicion. So I came home from prison. I really didn't have, you know, I had never done anything with my life other than sell drugs and live in the street. Right. So I already had this education and this knowledge. I already had this master's degree. So at that point, I decided I'm not going to waste it and throw it away. I'm not going to be one of those guys that rehabilitates and reforms. Fuck that. Why am I going to waste? I just worked so hard for everything that I knew and everything that I had learned. I'm not just going to, you know, it's like ripping up your PhD when you graduate and saying, I don't want to do this anymore. But I ended up getting violated. Right. So I had 5 years probation. 3 months before I got off probation, I was violated for dirty urine. Now, up until that point, I had no violations, no running. I was almost the whole 5 years clean and free with no issues.
Yeah.
3 months before I was supposed to get off, I get violated for pissing dirty for weed. So I go to jail, right? They give me a year and terminate the probation. So it was in there. It was in jail that I think I consciously came up with a plan where I was like, not only am I not going to do certain things anymore, but I'm going to go beyond just saying I want to be an activist, and I'm going to find a place to start in my mind. And I think that I had really dedicated myself at that point to some type of activism, right? So I got out of jail in July of last year, right? So that's when all the auditing began. That's when my channel began, was right there. So that's kind of my life in a nutshell. You know what I mean? There's obviously there's a story to every story. You know what I mean? There's a lot of things going on. I thought about writing a book or something one day. I don't know.
Well, I would disagree with that. You have a unique story, and what you're doing and what we're going to talk about is, like I told you before, setting the bar. Now, when you said you got a 30-year, 24 suspended sentence, was that on the federal level or on the state level? Did you do fed time or state time?
It was on the state level, Virginia.
So you get out of jail. You get out of prison. I'm sorry. You dropped dirty. They violated you. You get out of jail or prison, and you have this hunger. You have this need. You have this want to be an activist. You don't know exactly how you're going to do it, but you know you're going to do something this time. And that knowledge you got was from you going in and out through the justice system. That will give you more knowledge than any Harvard law graduate. That you know what I'm saying? There's people in prison that they know everything backwards and forwards. Their life's on the line.
It's right. They have exactly, and you said it, because they have to know. Nobody else is going to know it for them. When you're in prison, you're on your own. You're on your own.
Yeah.
You've been forgotten about entirely. You know.
Yeah. That my man James Gibson, who I'm about to do an interview. I've already done the interview. I'm going to post it. It was a death penalty case. The state of Illinois wanted to kill him. If no one's familiar, if you get the death penalty and they give you lethal injection, electric chair, on that death certificate, it says reason for death, homicide. Homicide is a medical term, right? Suicide, homicide. You know, there's murders is the legal term, but it says homicide. The state kills you. So you get out. It's July. You want to do something.
My first video, I did decide, I told myself, I said, listen, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to have laser focus, and my focus is on the police, the institution of law enforcement and prison officials, right? And prison institution of yeah. So I decided I was only going to focus on that. I wasn't going to just blindly, you know, throw my energy around. So I started with the geographically the closest place to me, and the prison, and I branched out from there.
And your goal, LD, if you would have to say your goal is it to embarrass the people that took something away from you? Is it to change the system? Do you believe it's a systemic problem? What ultimately would you say? Is it to teach other people? What would you say your goal is?
My ultimate goal is to legalize drugs, and how all this fits into that will come out over time, will play out over time, you know, but this all does fit into that. That is my ultimate goal. Now, when I'm out videoing, you know, people call me an agitator, right? But let me say this. The criminal justice system and police and drug police and specifically have been agitating me and my people in our communities for our whole fucking lives. They've been agitating us. They've been disrupting us. They've been destroying us. They rip apart families. They destroy communities. So I'm not agitating them. I'm reacting to them agitating me. I am a product of the environment that they put me in. They made me this way.
Yeah.
So this is a byproduct. I am not the beginning. I am the result.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It makes 100% sense.
I make music. I just started making music, right? When I was in jail, you know, I started writing raps, and you know, I was in my cell. I was by myself. You know, I was in there. I had nothing to do but just stand in the mirror and perform to myself and rap. And I wrote. You know, and I didn't know anything about music. Don't know anything about rap. You know, all I knew was that I had a message to convey. You know, I tried to write a book. I got through a couple chapters, but I'm like, this isn't. People don't listen to this. You can't make people feel something through a book. You gotta let them hear. You know what I mean? So I dedicated myself to that. And to be honest, what I'm doing now is kind of more of a platform for my music. You know, the auditing and you know, that's one way of being an activist, but my music is another.
Okay, so if people watching this, they want to hear your music, what does it go by? Who do you go by? What do they look up?
Legalize Drugs. I'm on Spotify and iTunes and Apple and stuff like that.
What's the best song you got? What's it called?
There's only 2 up there right now, but the one that gets the most streams is called "Fuck the Police," and I actually put it on the end of one of my videos. I put my music on the end of some of my videos.
Yeah, yeah.
So you know, people can listen if they want.
Listen, when the video I made, the second video, when I heard him say that phrase, I got in touch with him right away, and I made a video, and I think it was titled "The Next #1 Draft Pick in the Auditing Draft is Here." I think that's what I titled the video, because I saw it right away. I saw, like, I watch videos, and listen, everyone's going to think they're the best at what they do. I think the same way.
I think SGV, I know he don't fuck with me, bro, whatever, but I don't care. But SGV News, yo, he's one of the best out there. James Freeman, you know, any of the ones that News Now South Carolina, I love that motherfucker. He's kind of Rice Krispie, yeah. But you know, those are all channels that I watch. But when I think about, you know, exceptional, you know, SGV News, he doesn't fucking play around. SGV News does not fucking play around. You are not going to infringe on that man's rights. Period. Yeah. And I respect that shit, man. You know what I mean? Yeah. I respect what they're doing. I respect how they do it.
Yeah. You're unbelievably intelligent, and listen, to be a great auditor, you have to A, know the law, B, be a good communicator, C, be entertaining, because you have to create content. A police officer is not going to come up to you every single day and yell at you about a camera. Exactly. I can't chase police officers around and be like, dude, say something to me, yell at me, dog, come on, let's get it going. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't do that. Right. And that's what created The Voice. Like, everybody has their own way. And The Voice really came about because I would get emotionally attached or emotionally invested into these conversations, and I would get out of pocket, I would get out of my body, and I would turn into a circular conversation, right?
Yeah.
When I'm in the voice, like I'll say one time I was in a level 10 violence zone on Madison and Central, and they were all talking, and I go, hey, welcome to the murder capital, where they murder for capital. We celebrate good news with a homicide and bad news with a double. Hey, guys, what's going on? What's the talk around the water cooler today? Can I take part? Now, in real life, in a million years, I would never walk up to grown men and say, can I be in part of your conversation? So no matter what they say to me, it's not going to get me mad because I'm making an idiot of myself.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So there's a lot of components in it that I don't think people realize. And then the last component is, even if you're a great communicator, you know the law, all that, if you can perform under the lights. Because it's a whole different ball game from when you're sitting at your house than when you're surrounded, everybody's giving you the evil eye, and you know, you can beat the case, you can't beat the ride, you go to prison anytime, right?
That's right.
Have you gotten arrested yet? During the auditing.
Okay. All right. I have not. But, all right. I have. We have. All right. And I'm actually editing this video now. Right. Okay. So here's what happened. This is the next video you guys are going to see. Right. It happened at Coffeewood Prison. Okay. We went. We filmed. They told us to leave. The prison authorities told us to leave. We refused to leave. Right. The deputy showed up. Told the prison official they're within their rights. The prison official did not want to accept that, so he called the state troopers. The state troopers came, told them the same thing. They said they're free to go. Bye, this is over. You know what he did? He went to the magistrate on his own, in his individual capacity, outside of his official capacity as a prison warden. He went as an individual to the magistrate and said that we trespassed on his property and got us trespass warrants. He said that my brother assaulted him, but I have it on video. Oh, he tried to say that we assaulted him. When we told the deputies what happened, they said that's not assault. They were gonna get the prison warden for assault. They asked us, did the prison warden assault us? And he did, and it's on camera. And you know what we told the cops? No, he did not assault us. We don't even give a fuck. And he anyways went and pressed charges on us for assault and for trespassing. So guess what? A special agent from the state police gave us a courtesy call, right? Came and picked us up in his personal vehicle in a pink polo shirt, drove us to the magistrate, did not put cuffs on us, inside of a secured facility area where everybody else was cuffed and escorted. And he touched us on our shoulder and said, technically, I have to touch you to arrest you to serve these papers. I'm sorry, it's got to go down. And he took us to the magistrate. We served our papers, and we took us back to our car. And that was it. And guess what? You know, the state police, they didn't even want to serve the paperwork. When the warden went and took out the warrants, the state police, they didn't want to serve the warrants because they knew that they was going to be in violation of our rights. So the state police left the long warrants on the table and said, you know, let's just send somebody to his house, let him know he's got warrants, and then leave. So a special agent said, no, that's not professional. I'll call the guys. I'll take care of it. I know it's close to infringing on their rights, but let me do it. And guess what? The special agent did it the right way. He came at us the solid way, the right way, served us that, because I would rather actually have the paperwork served than have warrants and not know and get. You know what I'm saying? So he gave us a huge courtesy. You know what I mean?
So did this take place in a common area, like inside the building or outside on the roadway?
It happened in a both. Okay, so listen. So we're outside at a clearly publicly accessible space, which is the lateral curb line or ditch area next to the roadway, right? So we were there first. So we started walking down the street, the public street, which is called Coffeewood Drive. That's the name of it, that leads up to the prison. We started walking down that street. When we started walking down that street, they were the prison officials were coming down saying that they own that road. And guess what? There's private residences all up and down the road. There's private farms. Any street that is named or labeled, nobody owns that. If there is a street sign naming a street, that is a public street. You understand? Yeah. They tried to claim that street. So we're like, hell no. So we kept walking up the street, and it was a long walk. You'll see in the video. And we got to the building. We entered the building. They told us to leave that. So by the time this first deputy had come, we were already had left the building because we had spent so much time in there, right? So we didn't know if they had really called the cops because it had taken so long. We're like, man, these dudes are lying. They're trying to waste our time. So we had walked outside to start looking at other areas of the building. They followed us out and started flipping out even more. They thought we were going to stay in the lobby, and we were like, no, we kept it moving. You know, we're not done. So then when we started leaving, walking back down, the deputy pulled up, and they tried to tell us, the warden said we couldn't be on the road there either. Yeah, he tried to kick us off the public road, bruh, and out of a public lobby. And we're going to sue his ass too. We're going to sue his ass too. Yeah.
So he's claiming that you trespassed into the public lobby?
Yep. Yeah,
but it's public. Anybody
exactly. He's trying to say it's the classic. You don't have business to conduct here, and I explained to him. I said, listen, you know, the Supreme Court has already defined what business is. You don't get to define that word. Business to conduct has already been decided for you. Once you open a space to public accessibility, you have to take what comes with that. And as a prison official, he is expected to know what comes with that and what's allowed and what's not.
And plus, it's a matter of public interest. There's only one occupation that's covered by the United States Constitution, and that's the media, right?
Yeah.
So it's a matter of public interest. There's people that are paralyzed, that can't get they have phobias, that can't get out of their house. They might want to see what that looks like, right? Oh, I feel bad for them. I feel when when that video hits and everybody sees it, I wonder if people are going to call or write letters. Something might happen. I don't know. But so you could see that the state police didn't honestly want to get involved because they knew it was wrong. So they did it the most professional way possible.
Yeah. And I will tell you this. I have never, ever experienced such cordiality and such professionalism from a police officer in my life. I mean, it was beyond. I can't believe he was a fucking cop. You know what I mean?
So
that's how well he treated us.
So were you willing to go back when he trespassed you to say, okay, if he's trespassing me, the statute of limitations is not up, he assaulted me?
Yeah. So we actually can go to the magistrate and file assault charges on him. We actually already spoke to the state trooper and the magistrate. We don't like to, you know, we're more calculated. We're more the prison warden. He's acting out of emotion. He's jumping to he's stupid. You know what I mean? He's acting out of emotion. Do we want to spend that, you know, doing that, pressing criminal charges? You know, probably not. Now lawsuits, absolutely. You know what I mean? We're definitely going to be going after his ass. You know, we're going to wait till the trespassing and assault.
I say press charges. Put him on the other side of the bars. Press charges. Show up every once in a while to the court date, say he did it, point him out.
Yeah, but you know, it's you know, it's exhausting going through the process of the courts, bro. It's exhausting, hearing after hearing, day after day. I remember when I was fighting my case, you know, I had 10 or 15 suppression hearings, man, and they were hours long, and you know, I was having court 5-6 times a month. I mean, you know, waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning, those cold ass. I mean, it was a brutal experience, you know what I mean? And it's exhausting being in those courtrooms.
Yeah, but when you're on the other side, you're not obligated to be at every court date.
Well, but you know, but it's, you know, it's easier to focus. I like to concentrate my energy. You know what I mean? I don't like to fracture it. You know. And he says in his affidavit, he says I extended my arm, and then Robert, which is my brother, shoved me. Right. The video clearly shows the warden wrapped his entire arm around my midriff and torso and tried to pull me back. He assaulted us first. When he did that, he got assaulted back, straight up. Yeah. As self-defense. We repelled the force. We repelled the threat with a reasonable amount of force. And guess what? They backed up. They stopped. They backed up. You ever seen salt and pepper? You drop the drop of soap into the bowl of water, and the salt and pepper just shoots to the outside or whatever. Well, yeah, that's what it looked like. As soon as we went hands on back with those fuckers, they backed up. Yeah. They toned it down. They calmed down. And guess what? That's all we wanted. We want them to calm down, stop getting physically aggressive with us, so that we can be peaceful, so that we can be mindful. You know what I mean? Yeah. And they're coming at us like that. They're causing us to react like that. We don't want to be in there reacting like that. We want to be in there to film. We want to have a more humorous, you know, a more light encounter.
Yeah. And you know what? I didn't see it, but I believe you in the sense of that's how the story went, because you went there with a goal. You do it all the time. This is what you do all the time.
Exactly.
That never happens to him. He was operating off of emotion, and I always say emotional decisions are decisions that have the absence of intelligence. Emotional decisions are the absence of intelligence.
That's a good way to put that.
If they do have intelligence, it's just by happenstance.
That's a great way to put it.
He got emotional, which is what happens a lot. You get those guys riled up. I'm telling you, you guys got to watch his videos. He does not play around. He doesn't play around. He knows the law. He knows how to communicate. And that's another thing, too. Don't think the police know the law. But if they think you don't know the law, oh, they're going to run over you all day. When I was in court, I was videotaping, and the superintendent of that courthouse says, "What are you doing? You can't videotape." I said, "Well, actually, I can. I'm in a public area. That's a private, it's public. I can videotape from a publicly accessible area." And I didn't even get, as soon as I started saying that terminology, he said, "Oh, okay," and he walked off. So now, if I didn't know, he might have cuffed me up. You know what I'm saying? When they know you know your rights.
Yeah.
You can tell you know your rights.
Yeah, and I make it known from the gate that I know my rights, whether I imply it or whether I directly state it, you know, because I don't have time to play the games. And the way I feel about it, once I've made it clear that I know my rights, and if you then choose to play games, well, then that's on you now. However I treat you now is on you, you know?
Yeah. I think one of my favorite quotes was like, I'm going to come back, and I'm going to be on something that stun gun can't stop.
Wait till I get intoxicated. Then I'm going to be out of line. I'm sober right now.
Yeah, we're sober right now.
Wait till I get intoxicated. I ain't talking liquor.
We don't play around with
some shit your stun gun ain't going to stop.
Go ahead and make your move.
Yeah, I was dying, dude. I was dying. Because it's this mix of hardcore, in your face, and then, but this very, very smart and intelligent. It's a hybrid. Trust me, he's my favorite auditor. So it's got to be something, you know what I'm saying? He's not your average person. He's not the guy sitting outside a water filtration plant with an umbrella and a glass of lemonade, waiting for 45 minutes for one suburban cop to come so he can argue the merits of terrorists with him.
And you know, it's controlled. It's controlled chaos. It's controlled chaos, really. And you know, but just like we can escalate, we can also de-escalate, and we've done that, and we've shown that. You know what I mean? And I actually have as a matter of fact, with the last video that we put out with the major from Orange County, all it took was for me to say, "Let's start over." I could have kept that shit going. I could have really had him amped in because I had him. We riled him up, you know, and I could have kept him going, but I didn't. I stopped, and yet just you know. There are so many satellite buildings out here with no addresses that you cannot find on the internet that we drive by and we see. And once we see the secure area, we start doing our own little research. That's how we found the DEA building right down the street from our house. We scouted it and we started following the agents and all that until we found out they were DEA. And then we approached the building and filmed and called them out. And when their response to me let me know that they were DEA. So then I knew we were on the. So that's the best part, is that they have so many buildings around here, DPN. There's so many buildings, bro.
They asked you, are you from around here? You're like, are you from around here? He goes, yeah, I just drove down here. Well, if that constitutes being from around here, I'm standing right here, so I must be from around here too. What the fuck? What does it mean you drove here so you're from around here?
That's a good point.
That means you're from somewhere else and you got here.
That's why I watch you. That's why I watch you. That's why I love you, bro, because your attitude, man. You know, you are, that's that shit. Saying shit like that to him, bro, that doesn't come to my mind, but it comes to yours.
We got some reports you guys are down here filming and stuff. Yeah, where are you, local PD? No, we're not local PD, we're federal. Are you guys from around here? Are you? Yeah, well, of course. I just drove down here, didn't I?
That's why I watch you. I watch all your shit.
I think we all do that. Like, there's things that I know people watch my videos and they're like, because they think differently than me. They're like, dude, I wish I was in that confrontation. I would have said this. Yeah. And I watch your videos sometimes. And trust me, you get everything right. But then when the first video, on the one that I know about, with that saying, when the cop goes, "Oh, I'm not answering any questions on your business," I'm like, the cop's gonna answer another question right now. And I was waiting for you to say, "None of your business, dude." But I was like, "Yeah, man." Yeah. But it's a Monday morning quarterback, right? Like, you destroyed him. Like that was one of the most impressive videos.
And to be honest, there's no doubt I could have done better. That was only my second video. You know, trust me. Like I all the comments, like I could have definitely went harder on his ass for real. If I could have turned up.
Yeah, no, that was a great video. What are you kidding? I posted it, and then you said, you can't prove a negative. I was like, this mother.
Oh yeah, that's right. I do remember. You were one of the first people. Cameras everywhere, and y'all were the first two to find my videos, man. Seriously,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
San Joaquin, I think one of y'all told San Joaquin about me or something. And
yeah, there's only two people I've ever called because I saw their video and I'm like, that dude's a fucking beast, and you were one of them. And
you were the first one to reach out to me. You were the first one to reach out to me.
It's all those things put together. It's being able to communicate. Like, it's understanding language and what to say, because it means a lot in law. And then understanding the law, and then being able to perform when the lights are on. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. Okay, now let's get into this. One of your videos, it was one of the more benign videos. Not much happened, but was it the video with the guy with the dark hair that they kicked you off the property? Is that the video in which a lawsuit came from that?
That's the video.
So explain that story.
All right. So, okay, so we go to the police. All right, so first of all of our incidents always happen on the last stop. All of them. The one where we're like, fuck it. We already went to all these places, nothing happened. We're like, should we go? Okay, so they always happen there.
Always.
So Manassas City, we're like, fuck it, let's go, man. So we pull up, we park, we get out. We start seeing signs that say public parking here. You know, there's obviously clearly marked public spaces there in the parking lot, right? So we went and investigated those areas without incident. So we went to the public parking lot, which was publicly accessible. We went there and we just filmed at the security gate. Now, we did not know about that Sergeant Mishu or Lieutenant Bissick. We did not know about their demotions and about their criminal records, right? We didn't know about that. We literally just went to Manassas City because it was right on the radar. So Mishu, Sergeant,
wait, when you say that, I don't know about what you're talking about, and the viewers don't know. When you're saying about whose demotions and what was that? What's that part of the story?
Oh, all right, okay. So we get there. A sergeant and a lieutenant, they pull up in their SUVs. They come out through the security gate, and the sergeant approaches us and says, he says, "How are you? How are you doing?" He says, "I'm filming too." I said, "Yeah, I know." I said, "I'm just letting you know we're not being detained. It's this consensual encounter." He said, "Well, I haven't told you whether I'm detaining you or not, or whether it's consensual or not." He said, "Can I help you?" I said, "Well, we didn't ask for help, sir." So I turned my camera to the lieutenant and made a statement. When I did that, the sergeant now walked up and encroached on our space and got right up in the camera lens, filled his face with it, and said, "Sir, I'm trying to speak with you. I'm trying to speak with you." So as he's doing that, my brother he's behind me, is walking up to also speak with the sergeant. As he's doing that, the sergeant says, "Let me speak with you too." So when my brother stops to speak with him, he says, "Well, you guys are circling him. You're circling me. You're now trespassing." And he trespasses right then. He said, "I'm trespassing you. You can't be on this property. You cannot come here and circle us." And here's what caused me to investigate them individually. He said, "You guys can't come and circle us, and you guys can't come and accuse us." So when I started thinking about what he had said over the next couple of days, I thought, why would we didn't accuse him? I'm looking in the video. Where did we accuse him of anything? Nothing. And there was nothing. And we weren't there to accuse him. So I'm thinking, maybe he feels accused. If he feels accused, why would he feel accused? So then I started doing research into him. Then when I started doing research into him and found some stuff out, then I found some stuff out and I started looking into the lieutenant. And all this stuff is buried deep. You know what I mean? And I found this stuff. And I'm thinking, okay, that's why they didn't want the cameras there. That's why they didn't want us there, because they thought we were coming to see them specifically and to, provoke them, based on what the public information that was available to us at the time about them. That's what I think that they thought. So they trespassed us for that. Now they pushed us off the property all the way to the edge, to the sidewalk, to the main road. They push us back. We're arguing with them the whole time. They try to get our IDs. Of course, we refuse the ID. So we get pushed back, and he explains to us, the sergeant, and it's a bunch of goons. There's all of them. It's like a bunch of them out there pushing us back. We get to the sidewalk, and the sergeant's like, "I don't need a reason to trespass you guys. I don't have to have any activity. I can trespass you from public property, from city of Manassas property, with no reason whatsoever. I can do that." And the lieutenant was like, "Yeah, you think we haven't done this before? You think this is our first time doing this? And then another cop steps up and gets right in our face. We're already at the sidewalk. He gets up right up in in my face, steps up inches from my face and says, "What does it matter whether I'm in your face?" Like,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. And so that's the type of shit that I was up against there. You know what I mean? So I guess that's what they thought, and they kicked us off. So, and I also think that they thought they didn't know who they were fucking with. You know what I mean? Because we're not the type to go like don't like, hey, we're gonna do this to you, and we know this and all that. No, we like to look stupid and ridiculous. We look crazy. You know what I mean? We don't want them to think that we're smart. So he obviously didn't think that we knew anything or were gonna do anything. He wouldn't identify his supervisor, anything like that. Wouldn't let us make complaints or anything like that. Okay, so we filed a complaint with the chief of police. The complaint comes back founded. He says that he did trespass us without legal justification. He should not have done that. So we had already filed the lawsuit by that time. You know what I mean? But
you filed the lawsuit. Let's get that clear.
Yeah, I filed it. I filed it on my own. I drafted that complaint. I'm the one that determined every word that went into that complaint. You know what I mean?
It's a federal lawsuit?
It's a federal lawsuit, and it's got a case number and everything. It's in the U.S. District Court, Eastern District of Virginia. It's docketed, and the sergeant lieutenant has 60 days to reply to the complaint. And then there will be some type of hearing, or they're probably going to file a motion for summary judgment or motion to dismiss. We already know that. Like we're already expecting. I know the playbook. I know the tool book. You know what I mean, that they use.
Well, you guys just heard that. The bar's been raised. Forget about FOIA requests and personal cell phones. Forget about all that. The bar's been raised. We're on to where auditors, for lack of better words, are filing federal lawsuits.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable. Now you know why he's my favorite auditor. Wait, now real quick, when you go back, because you said it was they got demoted. Can you give us just a general idea of what they did, because it's public record, to get demoted? Just the charge or
I don't know. I filed a FOIA request to get that information. They denied it, saying that that information was exempt under the department personnel files exception. So that's why I was denied. And then I also tried to FOIA request Lieutenant Bissic's personnel file. Same reply. It was denied. So FOIA did not work in that situation.
Now, when that one officer said, "We've done this," you don't think we've done this before? We've done this all the time. Can that be made? Is that not clear in present practices? They do this all the time. Like this is that's
can
not
it be used?
Thing to say.
Can it be used to establish municipal liability? Well, I don't know. The question becomes, what is his role? Can he determine or dictate policy as a lieutenant? Yeah. Most of the times in those situations, the answer is no. You cannot, you cannot sue a lieutenant in his official capacity. However, with Lieutenant Bissick, what I did find with him was that he actually is the top. He is in charge of recruitment and training at the department. So he is the person that establishes policy for training and recruitment, right?
And was that the guy? What was the guy's name that was mainly in the video? He looks like Sergeant
Mishu. Sergeant Mishu.
And that's the guy who was in charge of training?
No, Lieutenant Bissick was the guy. He was in the background. He was the one in charge of training and recruitment, right?
Yeah.
Now, if I sue him in his official capacity and municipal liability becomes established, I'll then have to prove that his statement, "We've done this before," actually is a policy or custom or proof of it. So those are two very hard things to prove. So I don't like suing officials in their official capacities. I rather do it individual because it makes things a lot easier. And most of the time, there's this misconception out there that if you sue an officer or a public official in their individual capacity, they won't be able to pay the lawsuit. But they actually get indemnified by the municipalities. Many of them have insurance policies. I can assure you no department is going to let their officer be personally liable for that money. You know what I mean? Yeah. So the money will get paid.
I don't want to talk about the lawsuit. I don't want to tip your hand too much. You know what I'm saying? Like, keep up the jag, because obviously I'm rooting for you. So, so what is what are the damages? What are you filing? Is it violation of your civil liberties? Like, what is overall in general statement?
We're suing for violation of the 14th Amendment, our 14th Amendment right to liberty, which is just to be present in a public space. We've sued him for violating our First Amendment right to freedom of expression, freedom to assemble, freedom to protest, and freedom to film public officials. He prevented us from doing all those things in a space that we were, allowed to do it in. So 14th Amendment, First Amendment violations is what he sued for.
And so how much does it cost for the people out there? If you want to file a federal lawsuit, you know all the terminology. How much time did it take you? Like, how much time are you putting in to write the brief or to file the motions? And where do you go to get the pay? Like, if somebody if you were making a tape or just like a 5-minute explanation, filing federal lawsuits for dummies, where would somebody first go to learn how to do something of that nature?
The internet. Go to nolo.com. The beginning of my knowledge, the beginning of my legal knowledge actually goes back, to having discussions with attorneys, before I went to prison, just having attorneys and having talks with them. But when I got locked up, when I went to prison, I got a paralegal diploma. I was able to receive correspondence courses through the mail. Thank God, because nobody could get these, but I was able to convince the jail to let me go to college and have the book sent in. And I ended up getting my paralegal diploma. And while I was doing that, I was the law library clerk in prison. That's where I really, really learned because I had all this time, you know what I mean?
Excuse me?
Are you FBI? What's wrong? You scared of your shadow?
No, I just don't like somebody I don't know walking around behind me.